Hey everyone, welcome to this week's conversation. My guest tonight is a rising star with a powerful voice and a future as bright as it gets. Please welcome to the show the pride of Jonesboro, Arkansas, Drew Pulliam. Hey Drew, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure, Drew, and it looks beautiful where you are there in Nashville. I was saying that's no virtual background now, that's real stuff, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, and glad to hear it's not triple digits, so that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good
Oh,
too.
yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I thought maybe we'd kick things off by talking a little bit about your new music. You released the title track from your upcoming album, Back of My Mind, back in May. And just within the last few days, the second single, Roses, was released. So, what can you tell us about the first two songs, and what do we have to look forward to when the rest of the album comes out?
First two songs, Back My Mind and Roses, they're out now if you want to find them on Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming platforms. Um, they're both very kind of introspective songs, um, and they speak a lot on the emotions that come um, before, after, and during relationships.
Hmm.
And really, this whole album kind of speaks in some way on emotions that sort of pass through you and during a relationship. They're sort of a step in the as far as my career as an artist. I feel like they're more sort of in a step towards a more authentic sound for me. I'm
Hmm.
kind of finding my sound as I grow up and as I sort of develop as an artist. And I'm super excited to share these songs with the world because they come from a very authentic place.
Oh, no, you know what? After just listening to those, and plus from your, your debut EP a couple of years back, 16 going on 60, if there's one thing that jumps out, it's the authenticity, and also just, I mean, I'm listening to the falsetto in Back of My Mind, and it blew my mind listening to your
Oh man,
voice in that.
thank
That
you
was
so much.
amazing,
Thank
absolutely
you.
amazing. Sure,
That
yeah.
means a lot.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we also appreciate our first and longest running sponsor of the show, Tom and his team of insurance professionals at the Malin Agency. If world class customer service and doing business with someone you can trust is important to you, give Tom and his team a call today for all your insurance needs.
It's funny. I used to be kind of afraid of my falsetto. Like I wouldn't ever want to really sing in it. And then my mom, moms, they always know what's best. She was like, "You should do that more often. You should embrace that a little more." And so I kind of took a leap of faith with that one and tried it. And I've really enjoyed it ever since.
Well, it's, what's the old expression, right? Mom knows best, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Now, and your mom actually played a pretty big part in your development early on in your musical career, didn't she?
But yeah, she did. She ran the local community theater in my hometown. Um, and I had a lot of siblings, and we never really had a babysitter. We would just kind of go up there and hang out with mom at the theater while she directed shows and taught classes. And I remember just watching her from such a young age, um, direct and tell these stories on stage. And I think that's where I first fell in love with storytelling, was in the theater and doing those shows um, and acting and singing, and that eventually turned into me telling stories of my own and my songs.
Wow. So now there's another aspect of this album that really I thought was impressive when I read it. So I just want to make sure I got this right. Is it true that you play just about every instrument on the album?
Yeah, just about. There's a couple songs where I had a friend of mine, Sydney, come in and play drums, incredible drummer, and then Barry bass played bass on it. But other than that, all of it was pretty much me just kind of goofing off in the studio. I was in school at Delta State at the time, and I'd get done with classes and go in there and just kind of mess around, see what I could come up with.
Well, you definitely came up with some great stuff from what I've heard, thus far, for sure. So back, going back then to those early days, what was the first instrument that you gravitated towards?
Um, it kind of goes back to the whole growing up in the theater. There was
Yeah.
this grand piano in the lobby of the theater that I would, when I was about 11, I'd just start banging on as a kid all the time. And I'm sure I drove the employees there at the theater crazy because I was always playing it. But yeah, and then I started writing songs when I was about 14, picked up the guitar when I was 14 or 15, and started playing that, writing on that, and been doing it ever since.
Now, I was going to ask you, do you have a preference in terms of whether it's piano or guitar when you're writing, or can it be either?
Man, that's a good question. It kind of goes back and forth. I'll go through a season where in a for a couple months I'll really gravitate towards the piano and writing on the keys, and then for a couple months I'll sort of gravitate towards the guitar and start writing on that. And every now and then, now I picked up the mandolin for this last record, just because I really wanted to put a mandolin on it. So I saved up all my tip money and bought a mandolin, and I got into that. Some of those songs were written on the mandolin. They started on the mandolin too. It really just depends on, I guess, whatever season of life I'm in.
Wow. So I didn't know if maybe like the sort of the melody or the tempo or how you envision maybe the song kind of coming out as you're going through that process. I didn't know if that maybe played a role in it too.
Yeah, it's funny. Every time I kind of start to write a song, it it's different. Sometimes I'll have a lyric that comes to mind that I'll kind of elaborate on. It'll start out as a poem, or sometimes I'll have a melody that comes to mind that I'll like record into my phone really really quick. And sometimes I just kind of sit down at an instrument and I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Now, do you have, other than the songwriting aspect of it, do you have a favorite instrument or do you kind of like them all the same?
I kind of like them all the same, but it really does depend on what I'm playing. If I'm playing um, classic rock or any sort of like rock and blues stuff, I really like the keys.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as like folk stuff, I tend to gravitate towards acoustic guitar.
Wow.
Recently, I've been gravitating more towards acoustic whenever I'm playing. Um, but I can tell I'm starting to break back into a keys phase when it comes to writing.
Wow. Now, how would you describe your growth kind of across the board? Over the years, this is your first full album now, because the first was an EP a couple of years ago. So
Right.
if you were to look at you're kind of a triple threat. You've got the songwriting, the singing, the instrumentalist part down. How would you describe your growth in each area?
Oh man, that's a good question. I really just well, like I said, like I kind of go through phases where I tend to gravitate towards more one or towards an instrument more than the other.
Hmm.
And I guess every time I go through one of those phases, I kind of progress in a way on that instrument, and writing on that instrument too. Um, I'll go through a phase where I write on guitar, and then go through a phase where I'm writing on keys. And the next time I pick up the guitar and go through another phase, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm so much more comfortable on this now.
Wow.
um, those things just kind of just progresses over time. I'd say, as opposed to this album and my first EP, I think my first EP was sort of a step into this world as an artist. Um, and a lot of those songs were just really relevant for that time in my life. Whereas this album that I'm releasing at the moment is more. I feel like I could sing these songs whenever I'm 40 and sing these songs whenever I'm 60. I feel like people from all ages can kind of relate to them in a way. I feel like I'll still be relating to them later on in life.
When you look at these last few years that you've put these albums out, you've got all this growth and progression that you kind of described. What are some of your favorite memories in your journey thus far?
Man, probably just having fun in the studio with some friends. Back when my mind started, I was at this summer camp at Delta State, and we had some extra free time at this summer camp to go in the studio and just kind of have fun. And I asked one of my friends. I was like, "Hey, man, um, can we just go in there and kind of see what we come up with on this song?" And that's what it started as. It started as a bunch of teenagers, 17, 18 year olds, just 1 o'clock in the morning, sleep deprived, delirious, just seeing what we could come up with, having a good time, whacking a tambourine. We were all standing around a mic at one point, clapping. Um, it really was just a joy moment. If I could
Hmm.
put it in a bottle and put it on my shelf, I would.
No, that's awesome. Now you mentioned Delta State. So are you still in school now?
No, I was in Delta State for about a year at their audio engineering program, and I kind of realized there that I just wanted to jump right into the action and
Hmm.
go full on Nashville. So here I am in Nashville, playing a lot, doing a lot of collaboration with artists and instrumentalists here, and I'm super grateful to be here. It's been an incredible learning experience.
I always love when I kind of hear that leap of faith that you're taking right now. Was there anything, any event or any moment that you got the courage up to say, yeah, this is it. I definitely wanted to do it, or is it something that just evolved over time?
I'd kind of thought about like moving to Nashville at some point, especially when I was at like Delta State, but also before then, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna end up here at some point. Um, and then I was going to, there was this audio engineering program called Dark Horse Institute in Franklin, just outside of Nashville, that I had kind of thought about going to, and I was going to Delta State at the time, but I was going to Nashville to shoot this music video for Back of My Mind. And I got there, put in the address, drove to Nashville, and when I got to Nashville, it was the same place. It was Dark Horse Institute,
Huh.
in the same building, and I saw that, and I was like, "This might be God telling me I just need to take that leap of faith and come here." And that's what I did. I moved there next year and went to Dark Horse for about 6 months, and now here I am.
Wow, that's one of those sort of, I think everything happens for a reason moments, it
Yeah,
sounds like to me.
yeah, for
Wow.
sure.
I saw on your website you've got some gigs in Tennessee. I think I might have seen one or two in Arkansas as well. But
But
what do
yeah,
you got on tap for the rest of the year?
lots of playing. I've been playing a lot of writers rounds recently, and meeting a bunch of other writers to collaborate. And at the moment, I just started recording the next project after this one,
Mm.
and I'm super excited for that. We're putting in some work for the next project. Now, I was thinking ahead.
Wow.
Um, other than that, lots of playing, lots of rounds, lots of shows. Um, if anybody's in the area, feel free to come out and catch me.
Yeah, what's it like working in some of those, with some of the songwriters and some of those musicians down there? I mean, this is the best of the best in the world down there. Do you feel yourself getting better just being in their presence sometimes?
Oh yeah, iron sharpens iron for sure. And when I first moved here, I was kind of nervous about, sort of finding my place, but everybody here has just been so incredibly welcoming. Um, and there's just such a creative energy, it's and a creative energy in a community too. Everybody wants to see each other succeed,
Wow.
which is a really special thing. It's not like what's a plane going over? Sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
not like a like super cutthroat. It's competitive,
Yeah.
but everybody is helping each other out and wants to collaborate with each other. It's a very special thing, very special community here.
Yeah, and that's great to hear because I've heard that from so many other people, and it is great to hear because it is, it can be in some cases kind of a competitive business. Everybody's trying to fight for I guess back in the days when it was fighting for radio play. Now with social media and other things, there's enough space and enough room for everybody to get their content out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure.
Have you set any goals for yourself at this point in your career, whether it be short term, midterm, long term, anything that you've already decided you're going to be shooting for?
Um, Really, it's mainly just projects. Um, I'm always thinking about the next single or next album, next EP. all the time when I'm writing. And I'm thinking about shows, like how I want to do this show and how I want to do this show. The main overall goal is, I think, just to hmm, really just to do what I love and pay the bills. That's the main goal, and use it to bring joy to other people.
Yeah, I think that, and I've had this similar, thought with other people as they say that. To me, that's kind of like the ultimate definition of success, when you can do
Yeah.
what you love to do and pay the bills.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Definitely
I,
my definition of success.
yeah, yeah, and you're working toward it, which is great. So, Drew, I have one last question for you, and that is, we talked about, some of the memories and some of the things, but if you were to look back from just a slightly different perspective at all that you've done, that bold move you made, going to Nashville, all the projects you're working on. At this point, what are you most proud of?
Hmm. I think my lyrics,
Hmm.
especially on this new album, I put a lot of thought and intention behind my lyrics. Um, and even now on this next project that I'm writing and recording at the moment, um, I I just put a lot of thought into the lyrics, and a lot of it is still introspective, and every line means means something to me, you know?
Wow. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of, the kind of music that you're putting out. I think it's one of the words I would have to say is it's relatable. I think people are going to be able to relate to the stories that you're sharing, and I don't think it matters what the age of the person is. They're relatable lyrics and relatable stories. So I think that's definitely something to be proud of because it really comes through.
Well, thank you so much. That means the world to me.
No, you're very welcome, and I mean it. And like I said, Drew, I just was when I had a chance to look at some of your videos and just read some of your background, I was really impressed, and I was really looking forward to having you on the show and giving my viewers a chance to get to know you a little bit more. And if all goes well, at some point this fall, September, October, I plan on heading from Philly down to Nashville for a little bit. So when I do, I hope maybe I can meet you in person and have a chance to shake your hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for having me on. This is super cool. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, so am I, Drew. Again, I thank you so much for your time. Wish you all the best with the two singles that are out, with the album that's already in the works for September, and the new project. And by the time we talk again, you'll be four projects ahead of now, which is awesome. So
Oh
keep
man,
doing
thank you
it.
so much.
Keep putting out some great stuff. I look forward to hearing it as it comes out. And folks, I thank you for watching. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. We'll see you next week. This week's episode has been brought to you by Doherty and Company Insurance Services for all your business and personal insurance needs. Our friends at Tennis Addiction in Exton, PA. And the Malin Agency, where exceeding expectations is how they do business.